Candlepin Stars and Strikes is brought to you by the Thompson family of dealerships in Nashua, New Hampshire, and by Tri-State Megabucks and the New Hampshire State Lottery, helping New Hampshire schools one ticket at a time. WNDS Sports presents Candlepin Stars and Strikes, featuring the best Candlepin bowlers from all over New England, and now in our 19th season. Here's your hosts for Candlepin Stars and Strikes, Dick Lutz and Mike Moran.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome into another edition of Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dick Lutz with Mike Moran, and last week we saw, in the 6 years that we've been doing the show, the best triple ever bowled by any of the great Candlepin bowlers.
458 from Bob Whitcomb, who's had two terrific weeks in a row. Only one bad game in the last six, averaging 142 the last 2 weeks. Now, he and John Zappi met 2 years ago, and Whitcomb beat John by 9 pins, so it's kind of an interesting rematch today.
That sets up our match for this afternoon. Let's meet our bowlers. Winner of a couple of matches, starting from the number 5 seed. First week, he defeated Mike Poulin. Last week, he beat Jeff Surratt from Weymouth, Massachusetts. Let's say hello to Bob Whitcomb.
Week number 3, averaging 125, high single 199. Bob Whitcomb's high triple is 489. He bowls at two different centers in Hanover and in Hanson, Mass.
He defeated Mike Poulin 398 to 393, and last week he defeated Jeff Surratt 458 to 384. And this week, Bob Whitcomb will be taking on the number 2 seed, John Zappi from Quincy, Massachusetts.
And he is the WCBC Rookie of the Year for this last season. 124 average, high single 181, high triple 479. Bowls at Lucky Strike in Dorchester and the Hanover Bowlodrome, and as you know, Bobby does some bowling there as well.
John rolled a 683 to earn the number 2 seed in this latter series. Bob Whitcomb and John Zappi coming right at you when we come back to Leda Lanes for Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV right after this. Well, we began this latter series with 5 bowlers. Thus far, Bob Whitcomb has dispatched 2 of them.
He has. They are Mike Poulin, who was the number 4 seed. Last week, Jeff Surratt, the number 3 seed. And today, we're up to the number 2 spot, occupied by John Zappi. And the winner today takes on the top seed in this current ladder series, our first of the new season, Chris Sargent. Lots of great bowling ahead the next 2 weeks.
Mike Poulin and Jeff Surratt have bitten the dust now. Bob Whitcomb taking on John Zappi, and Whitcomb the first to bowl. .398 in his first triple win over Mike Poulin, a 458 last week, and he begins with an open frame.
You know, in his last 6 games, he's only had 1 game under 142, and that was a 94.
And he starts out with a 9. During the course of the match, we'll continue to read some emails and letters that we receive from you. We enjoy hearing from you and love to hear from you, and you can send them to Candlepin Stars and Strikes, WNDS 50 Television Place, Derry, New Hampshire 03038. And our email address is bowling@WNDS.com.
And we answer as many as we can personally, and we answer selected emails on the air that we think everybody else might enjoy answers to, as we get lots of questions about the game, scoring, some of the personalities that have bowled over the years, you know, do you remember when kinds of things. So write to us, and we'll do our best to get answers for you.
You can ask me questions about Mike Moran, and I'll try to answer them. Mike, of course, the host of the morning show on WZID 95.7 FM in Manchester. John Zappi starts up by picking 1 pin out of the bunch.
You're looking at the Rookie of the Year in the WCBC, which means of all the new bowlers that came on board last year, he did the best. It's not a voting thing. It's actually total pinfall for the either 5 or 6 tournaments that they participate in.
We've talked about Candlepin bowling in other areas. Of course, it's mostly in northern New England and the Canadian Maritimes. We got a letter from Kenneth Valdiga. I hope I'm saying your name correctly, Ken, from Worcester, Massachusetts. Have I ever told you I was from Worcester?
Well, that's the birthplace not only of Dick Lutz, but Candlepin bowling as well.
It certainly is. And Ken Valdiga sent along a score sheet from the Hobowl. And it is in all of New York in the Catskills, where they have 52 lanes, 40 of them are 10-pin and 12 are Candlepin. That's in upstate New York.
I would love to know when they put those Candlepin lanes in, if they've been there ever since day one or if they've recently added them.
And on the back of the score sheet, they have a complete list of instructions on how to score Candlepin bowling. For the novice in that neck of the woods who is not familiar with it, of course, you get 3 balls. The 10-pin bowler is accustomed to 2 balls, and that's it.
You know, all the automatic scoring, we got new automatic scoring here at Leda Lanes, a lot of the other bowling centers. That's a great thing. It's a great convenience for the bowlers, but in 10 years, nobody's going to know how to keep score anymore, Dick.
It's like giving change at fast food places,
sure.
Supermarkets. Everything's done for you on the calculator.
Gosh, we sound like old geezers.
I know.
When we say that.
It's funny reading the explanation. It defines strike spare and 10 box and the dead wood and things of that nature. And for the novice, for the uninitiated, it's certainly something that's very necessary. So Bob Whitcomb remains open through 3. But thanks to Ken Baldiga.
Hoe Bowl, H-O-E Bowl in Olive, New York.
Olive, New York.
South of Albany.
In the Borscht Belt.
Yeah.
There's Bob Whitcomb. The first mark of the game, very emphatically.
Shades of last week, actually the last 2 weeks for Bob Whitcomb. There's another look. They all went down in near record time. John Zappi addressing the pins on 34.
Not only has Whitcomb been winning the matches, he's been piling up bonus money at a pace really that far eclipses most of the bowlers we've seen in the past several years.
Add that to the extra money now that's been put into the actual tournament winnings, and he's going to make out okay the longer he stays in it. Our runner-up today, $550. Leda Lanes has added lots of money this year, so the winner next week gets $1,500. The runner-up $1,000.
So the prize kitty has been increased by Ray Simino and his people at Leda Lanes
and the bowlers
who
entries.
are participating in the roll-offs. That's where the money goes to. So you know where your money is being spent. It's being well spent and coming back to the winning bowlers, the participating bowlers in our ladder series.
And that's how tournament bowling should be, and this essentially is a tournament.
Well, John Zappi matched Bob Whitcomb's strike in the 4th frame. So both bowlers went 3 boxes without a mark, and they came up with their first marks in the 4th frame, and they were both strikes. You saw it again. Pin fell over, so they have to reset the pins on lane 34, which is what you're watching Bob Whitcomb do. Bob, 37 years old. From Weymouth, Massachusetts, works in the biotech field. A little thin in the pocket, but look at this, there they go! Well, in each of the last 2 weeks, he's had a shot at the triple strike. He's not converted, but this one is worth $550. Watch it again. We'll stay with it as long as we can. It's going to take too long. We'll get back to the live action. There they go. Now back to Bob looking for 3 strikes in a row, $550 in the pocket as he was on the 2 previous occasions, but he does not pick up the triple strike. For bonus money. This is a $50 shot. There it is. He continues to pile up the bonus money. It's not $550, but it's $50, and it still is adding to his total. Watch it again. He picked up the spare perfectly. Looking for a mark, John Zappi. Can he break up the split? He cannot. Tough shot. 6 and 10 on the right side. 7-pin with wood in front of it on the left side. Play the wood here, Michael, and take a shot at it?
I don't think so. I think you go for the 2 on the right-hand side.
That's what he's doing. I might have taken a different approach. Try to
well, he's going to do that here.
See what happens. Wouldn't have made it, apparently. 9 box. For Johnny, put 8 in the strike. 8 in the strike. And a 9 box. John missed the head pin that time. He'll have the 4 horsemen on the right side. That'll be an 8-box for John Zappi. He's at 62 through 6. Here's Whitcomb working on 3 marks in a row, right through the middle. Spread eagle.
So little payoff for such a great precision
Right on the head pin.
attempt.
Take 2 out of the 3 on the right side. Now he'll go after the 3 on the left.
Back in April, he won $5,000 in the Easter Sunday 20-string tournament that occurs every year here at Leda Lane.
And that'll be a 9-box.
Also,
96 through 7.
Dick, Bob was number 2 in the New Hampshire State doubles with his partner Mike Kucha this past year. They won it a year ago in 2001, and he was number 2 in singles this year in the New Hampshire State tournament.
He's had a big year. Here we go with another strike. That's the 3rd strike of the first string for Bob Whitcomb. Watch it again. He went to the Brooklyn side. Good pins in the back row. The 8 and the 9 were the last 2 to go. Now John Zappi finding himself in an early hole here.
As many have over the last couple of weeks.
John needs the marks, and there's a good shot, and look what he gets to show for it. The 5 and the 6. There is some wood, and the wood will be beneficial.
He'll go to the 5-pin, try to cut it rather thinly, and hope that he can catch a piece of that wood that's
The wood is frozen.
the 6-pin.
Yeah, he's going to make it. Yep.
Perfect.
Spare for John Zappi. 2nd mark of the string for John as he tries to hang close.
Had his first Pro Tour win at Fast Lanes in Stowe back in March of this year, and last year in the WCBC. 8th overall in the rankings. Pretty good for a Rookie of the Year. I don't know how many times a rookie has actually finished in the top 10 of the rankings, but he did it this year at number 8. He's got a great future ahead of him for sure.
John did not convert. I want to acknowledge a letter that we received from Jay Burke from Keene, New Hampshire. Jay, thank you very much for writing. Nice to hear from you. A 9-box for John.
There's a split to 2-4-6 following an 8th frame strike for Bob Whitcomb, who has been in total control the last 2 weeks, except for 1 game.
Ooh, he almost picked it off. Put a 9 in the strike and almost converted the split. Another big first string for Bob. That'd be a 9-box right there. He's at 124 through 9.
Worked himself into shape, lost a fair amount of weight, doing some working out, some light weight work, a lot of bike riding, and he credits that with helping his game go to the next level. And the proof is in the last couple weeks.
Will it go? It's being surrounded. It won't go. Is that the 4-pin that moved, that danced back? It is the 4.
It is the 4.
Yeah.
You know, he needs to make this to keep on par with his average the last 2 weeks, which is 142.
There it is.
So he needs an 8-pin drop to hit his average for the last 2 weeks.
As you watch on replay, it was almost a strike for Bob Whitcomb, but not quite. It's off the head pin, and he's only going to put 4 in the mark. A 138 first string for Bob Whitcomb.
Zappi from Quincy averaging 124. High single is 189. 28 years old.
Could use a mark in the last 2 boxes to narrow the gap.
And that's
got a tough shot here. The 2, 4, 7 on the left, the 6 and 10 on the right, the wood in front of the 6 and 10 pins. Gonna pick one.
Last time we saw John Zappi on our show, he was losing to Gary Carrington. Came in as the number 4 seed. Went through Rich Lottie and Bob Whitcomb, and then lost to Gary Carrington 391 to 346.
He's at 95 through 8 following that 8 box. Audrey Edelman from Melrose, Massachusetts, sent in an article from a publication called The Examiner, but I'm not sure where The Examiner is from April 30th, and it's the history of bowling, all sorts of bowling. John Zappi looks for a strike.
That's a pretty popular topic for a lot of newspaper writers to do. They'll take a look maybe at the fashions of bowling, how bowling has made a resurgence, how yuppies are getting into bowling, people who are 95 that are bowling. There's always another angle to explore. What angle do they take in this story?
John not able to convert. Well, this says beginning about 300 AD, the Germans played a game called kegling, in which contestants tossed round stones at 9 standing pins. John finishes with a 10 and a 105 for a string. We'll take a break. A 33-pin lead for Bob Whitcomb over John Zappi, headed to string number 2. We continue from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. You are watching Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV, presented by Tri-State Megabucks and McMulkin, Nashua, Mitsubishi, Hyundai, and Cadillac of Nashua, New Hampshire, and we go to string number 2. Did I say McMulkin Chevrolet too? I might have left the word Chevrolet out. If I did, I apologize.
Famous 4 horsemen on the left side, which is a little more difficult for the left-handed bowler because his ball is going from left to right and the pins run from right to left. So a little more difficult.
Not going to pick up the spare. Anyway, this article from The Examiner talks about 10-pin bowling, the origination of 10-pin bowling way back when, and other sorts of bowling. The American Bowling Congress, organized in New York in 1895. Did you know that?
I did. Didn't know the year, but I knew it was New York back in the 1800s.
And in 1917, ladies got in on the act with the Women's National Bowling Association.
So they had a bowling association before they could actually vote, which I think happened in 1920. And if I'm not right about that, I'm sure I'll get mail.
So thanks to Audrey Edelman from Melrose for sending in that article. Interesting stuff.
We appreciate all your letters. Hit the roadblock.
John with a pair of 9s to start the second string.
Here's a little trivia for you, back according to this article, Dick, that you're sharing with me. In 1841, Connecticut banned bowling alleys because of gambling.
Ooh.
And the irony is, of course, that there are 2 terrific casinos in the state of Connecticut.
That is a real irony, isn't it? Bob Whitcomb starts off with a half Worcester on the right side, punching through the 3 and the 9.
You know, there's a bowling alley in the basement of the White House, right? Richard Nixon
I've never been invited to bowl there.
No?
No.
I'll see if I can wrangle you a pass. I'll give W a call, see if he can arrange it.
8 box for Bob Whitcomb. Bob has a high single of 199, a high triple of 489. A 665 was his roll-off score to earn the number 5 seed. Roll-offs are ongoing in Leda Lanes, by the way, if you would like to participate and perhaps get a shot at appearing on one of our future shows. Why not give Leda Lanes a call at 603-889-4884, 603-889-4884. They'll be happy to give you the information on the next roll-off. And who knows, we may see you on a future Candlepin Stars and Strikes program. So Whitcomb with a mark, his first mark of the second string.
We need to say hello to a gentleman in the hospital right now, Fred Miller. Couldn't make it to today's taping he had hoped to. This is from his friend Jeff Surratt, who wants to send along his very best. And I suppose by the time the show airs, I hope that Fred is out of the hospital and feeling much better. So Fred Miller, we missed you. I'm sure Jeff will be back for another taping, and hopefully you can come along then.
Hope you're feeling better soon. John Zappi, 4 horsemen, right side. Piece of wood between the 6 and the 10. Missed it, just picked the head pin right off of it. box for John, who's having trouble finding the range here. He had a 105 in the first string with a couple of marks. He has yet to mark here in the second string, and Bob Whitcomb will have a 30-pin lead, give or take.
And he is a recently married man. Married Leanne back in December 2 years ago.
9-pin drop for John Zappi. Get a good look at John right there, the lefty from Quincy. Picks up the spare.
And he gets a nice round of applause from his bowling opponent today, Bob Whitcomb. One of the real gentlemen in this game. As Jeff Surratt told me last week after he lost to Bob Whitcomb, he doesn't mind losing to somebody as nice as Bobby Whitcomb. You don't like to lose, but if you do, you feel better about it if it's a decent guy.
If there's one person I can't stand losing to, though, it's you.
Well, you only have once out of 3 years, so you'll have another opportunity next March.
Bob with the spread eagle took the 3 on the right side. Now with the 2-4-7 on the left. And it's a 9 box. Those 4-pin fills and marks ultimately have a way to come back and bite you.
Bob Whitcomb starting at the number 5 seed a couple of weeks ago. Only twice in the last 5 years has anybody gone from number 5 to win a ladder series, and nobody's ever done it from the number 4 spot. I was talking to Mike Poulin about that a couple of weeks ago. Nobody has ever done it from the number 4 spot, believe it or not, in 5 years, and dozens and dozens of ladders, and only twice from number 5.
Well, a piece of wood continues to roll between the 8 and the 9 and the 10. Bob Whitcomb, there you see Bob, the little traffic cop, trying to make sure the pin stops just about where he wants it. This is not an easy shot, gang. A lot of wood, but who knows where it's going to go. Yeah, as I told, oh, is it going to get it on the rebound? No, it does not.
It looked like he hit it perfectly. But when you're 60, 70 feet away from the actual pins, it can be deceiving.
So Bob will be open in the 4th frame. He'll take a 10 box, a 41. It is a 36-pin lead for Bob Whitcomb, minus what John Zappi puts on his spare. As we go to the break, we're coming back to Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, when we continue with Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. John Zappi first to bowl. When we come back from the break, he's working on a spare. He trails Bob Whitcomb by 36 pins, minus whatever he gets on this first ball. He'd like to cut it to something under 30 for sure. He'll pass the head pin. He will get a 6-pin drop out of it.
But not an easy shot. 1, 7, 9, and 10. 2 pieces of wood over around the 7 pin, which perhaps could cause a little scattering effect. But he's got to hit the head pin.
Got a shot at it. Nope, missed the head pin. Just missed the head pin to the left.
Boy, there's not much room for the ball to go through and not hit anything on that side.
Yep. He'll take an 8 box. A 52 half. For John Zappi. Right on the head pin there, broke up the split and leaves the 3 and the 6 still standing, looking for his second mark of the 2nd string. Will it go? It will not go. Boy, it's leaning and wobbling. Still wobbling, but won't go. And that'll be a 10 box. Tough miss for John Zappi right there. All right, now Bob Whitcomb on lane 34 at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, where there's almost always plenty of open bowling if you're ever in the area and would like to come by. I think you'll really be impressed with this new automatic scoring that they've installed here. It monitors all over the place. It does everything for you. All you have to do is put the ball down the alley. Bob Whitcomb trying for the mark, couldn't convert the split. It's fascinating to look at the automatic scoring system here and how it works. With Candlepin bowling, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do because pins move around. There's wood on the deck, but it manages to do it.
Well, it's been used in 10-pin bowling, for many, many years, and then Candlepin bowling came up with not automated scoring. You had to manually enter the number of pins, but at least you did need paper and pencil. Now they can actually read the number of pins that half bar. Talking to Sue, who runs the desk here some of the time at Lita, she says it's gone pretty well. They broke the system during the summer with the summer leagues, kind of what you'd call a soft opening, and now the fall leagues are well underway, and things are going pretty well. Not an inexpensive proposition, we might add.
For the spare, nice shot by Bob Whitcomb. No, but as we've seen in the 6 years we've been doing the show, that Ray Simino is not one to sit back and stay idle in things that are going on in the business of Candlepin bowling. He's one of the real forward-looking operators, and
yeah,
he'll try anything.
And, you know, at his point in life where he's been a very successful businessman, I mean, he could certainly retire. There's no question about that. But he, I think, likes to keep the business, as you say, on the cutting edge and, you know, evolve with the game, because the public's going to get bored if things don't change and improve.
Boy, John just missed another tough spare. He's missed a bunch of them. Thought for sure he'd have that. It just wasn't to be. He has to take another 10 bucks.
He's a 28-year-old shipping manager for Ellsworth Supply, which is a plumbing and heating business. He's been in that line of work for a number of years, either in one form or another, plumbing and heating.
Got the 3, 5, 6, and 10, still standing Wood between the 3 and the 6. Needs to make the mark, and he does. Finally caught a break. He's been throwing the ball well. He just hasn't been getting any breaks. Watch it again. The Wood certainly helped out in that situation. It was placed well. Whitcomb working on a spare. Crossed over to the Brooklyn side. He's telling those pins where to go. He does a lot of directing after shooting the ball and trying to line up the pins. Got the 5 and the 9 with Wood. There it is, 2 marks in a row for Bob Whitcomb. And he continues to add to his lead.
Last time we saw Bob Whitcomb was October of 2000. He was the number 3 seed, and he defeated John Zappi, the man he faces today, 393 to 384. So it's, in a way, kind of a rematch, and John Zappi has a chance to take revenge. So far, though, it's Whitcomb in command. The 9 fill on his second spare. He picks up the spare here. He's got some bonus money, $50 for 3 marks in a row. The triple strike jackpot, as you know, $550 for 3-bagger, and today's bonus ball at the end of the match, we draw a name from a postcard, $30 for a match.
Another $50 in bonus money for Bob Whitcomb. That makes it $100 for the match. Zappi has yet to score any bonus money. He'd like to do that. He's working on a mark right now, but Whitcomb is pulling away.
Our scorekeeper in house today, Paul Willett. This is what is, I think, 3rd season. Keeping score on the big grease board. We're talking low tech here, but easy for everybody to read. They can't see the monitors from where they're seated here at Lita Lanes.
3-pin fill for John Zappi. And right through the hole.
Oh.
Nothing's going right for John. And that will be a great 9-box. You can have a great 9-box. That's it right there. He is at 94 through 9. He had a 105 in the first string.
Only 2 marks, and he filled a 6 and a 3.
So he needs a mark here and a big fill. And he threw it right to the head pin, and look what he has to show for his effort. The 7, the 8, and the 10. Ouch.
I don't like the wood either on this one.
I do. The wood between the 8 and the 10 could slide over and take that 10 if it hits it right. There. Oh, it came all the way across. It was not angled correctly.
He had the right idea, which is pretty much what you were saying, but the angle wasn't quite good enough.
And that'll be a 9-box. A 103 second string for John Zappi. Bob Whitcomb is already at 98, plus whatever he gets on this ball in the 8-box.
The runner-up today gets $550. That's new 3rd place money with the Lita Lanes added money. $1,000 to next week's runner-up, and $1,500 which is the amount we've been giving for the Tournament of Champions the last several years. $1,500 is the new ladder championship prize.
6 in the spare for Bob Whitcomb. He's at 104. Tough shot here. Missed the head pin, which was the key. So he'll be open here. No more bonus money in this string for Bob Whitcomb.
Unless, of course, he threw 3 strikes.
Well,
then we're
never
talking
say never, that's for sure.
Major bonus money.
In 8 box, he's at 112 through 9. Our director this afternoon on Candlepin Stars and Strikes is Kevin LaFond. Engineers Paul Hunter and Keith Webb. Rob Fay on audio. Don Cronin working the replay machines. Alex Kalustoff on computer graphics. Kevin Sheehan, Jonathan Elias, and Steve Gregoire operating the cameras, making it possible for you to watch the best Candlepin bowlers in the world right here on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Tough shot here for Whitcomb, and he almost made it. After the half Worcester, he almost converted. He's at 121. And that's what it'll be, a 121 second string for Bob Whitcomb. 2-string total, 259. 51 pins better than John Zappi's 208. Headed to the third and final string as we continue from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire with WNDS TV's Candlepin Stars and Strikes. We will be right back. Ready to go, third string. Bob Whitcomb will be first to bowl as we will continue with Whitcomb in the lead by 51 pins over John Zappi. A mountain to climb for John, not insurmountable, but still very difficult.
Especially the way that Bob's been bowling the last couple of weeks. He shows no signs of letting up, although his scores have been down a little bit still, averaging nearly 130 today, 142 the last 2 weeks. Generally, a 390 is going to be good enough to win.
It's interesting to talk about a guy bowling a 130 average and saying he's off his game.
I know.
Here's a spare for Bob Whitcomb to start off the third string. Great play of the wood, which was off to the right of the pins. Watch it again. He goes to the right and kicks it across with the 4-pin, the last to cooperate. Now Whitcomb on the mark. Again, throws to the head pin. Can't break up the split, though. Tough shot coming here for Bob.
Boy, the 7-pin almost got pushed off the deck by a piece of wood leaning against it. So if he can just catch a piece of that wood anywhere from the 6-pin to slide over, he should make it.
Got a piece of wood to send flying, too, but didn't get the object pin, the 3-pin.
Chances are he'll, well, maybe he will still go for the 6-pin.
I would.
He's got that extra wood at this point of the game. Why not?
9 box for Bob. 27 for the first 2.
When you have a 40-plus pin lead, you can afford to, take a little extra chance. It's a good investment. John Zappi has to be nothing short of spectacular for this game to have any chance to win.
Well, he's trying to be spectacular right there with a 9-pin drop in the first frame. And a mark for John to start out. Irene Boulder from Orange, Massachusetts, sent us a news clipping from last November. She's 85 years old, and she bowled her best game ever on November 29th at Lucky Lanes. She bowled a 134 single and a 324 triple.
Whoa.
She's 85 years
Whoa.
old, Michael.
Congratulations.
Isn't that something?
Well, even though leagues are well underway for the fall season, there's always an opening, or there generally is in a lot of leagues, a lot of different nights or days. So visit your local bowling center if you'd like to be a part of this great game of Candlepin bowling.
And here's another, the back of this is another clip showing a picture of Regina Walsh, who's 96 years old, and she won second place in a bowling match in Winchester, New Hampshire recently. Walsh is formerly from Athol, now resides at Harborside Applewood Nursing Home in Winchester, and 96 years old and still winning in bowling. Isn't that something?
That's wonderful.
Congratulations to you both.
God willing, we make it that far ourselves, let alone be able to still bowl.
What do you mean still bowl? I've seen you bowl.
I look like I'm 96, don't I? Half that age.
Whitcomb open in the third frame with a 9-box. 36 after 3, comfortably ahead by 50-plus pins.
I want to congratulate the final winners in the first Massachusetts Junior Traveling League season, which ended back in June. The youths from Wallach's Recreation were the winners. Congratulations, and the runners-up from Bryan's Bowlaway. And they did a great job. The Mass Bowling Association localities will fire up for the annual league, which will begin again, I believe, later this year.
Bob tried to cap the deadwood, but couldn't do it. Missed the spare. That wood is in a tough angle. Either you cap it or you miss it.
Dick's second season for the Mass Junior Traveling League begins in December. And I want to thank Kevin Cormier from Candlepincorner.com. It's a wonderful website. If you love Candlepin bowling, probably the best there is out there. And he's got links to lots of other bowling associations, so you can find almost anything about the game if you go to Candlepincorner.com. And he's got a young nephew, Adam Cormier, who is, I guarantee we're going to see him on our show in about 15 years.
John Zappi, tough shot here. He'll have to play the wood on the left. Got the 3 and the 6 on the right, the 2-pin on the left with a piece of wood side saddled to the 2-pin. He'll try to slice that over there. Just like that is what he tried to do, but it didn't make the shot. Again, not the right angle. So he'll be open in the third with the 10-box. 10s aren't going to do it for John, though. He needs to put a bunch of marks together, back to back to back to back. Starting right here. He's going to run out of time. He's trailing by, well, 60 pins, less whatever he gets in this box. Head pin straight on, not much to show for it. Although the wood could be beneficial here. A couple of pieces of wood right in the center of the lane. With the 4-7 on the left, 6-10 on the right.
Tried to split them.
Took the 4 and the 7, leaving the 6 and the 10. It'll be a 9-box for John at 45. 45 standoff in this string. That means a 51-pin lead for Bob Whitcomb. With 6 boxes remaining, we're going to the break. Don't go away. Come back for the finish of this match on Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. We'll be right back. Bob Whitcomb has a commanding 51-pin lead with 6 boxes remaining. As you get a look at the crowd here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, we look forward to seeing you at our next taping. If you can make it, we'd love to have you. Bob Whitcomb with the big lead, threw it past the head pin. 4 horsemen on the right side with the 8-pin in the back row.
Next taping, by the way, is November the 12th. 12th of November, Tuesday.
I think I can make it.
I'm counting on it.
Watch out. Don't give up yet with that pin flying across the lane. You never know where it's going to end up. He didn't make the spare, but it gave you a little bit of a thrill. This will be an open frame for Bob Whitcomb, a 9-box. He's kind of on cruise control right now. 1 mark through the first 5 boxes of the third string. We saw him do this in the third string in his first match with Mike Poulin, where they both just went ice cold in the third string after both being red hot through the first 2 strings. That's a head pin shot. He throws a nice first ball. 9-pin drop. See what happens with that piece of wood. It's squared off, giving him a pretty good shot at it. Has to play the wood, probably try to hit it right on the red stripe. He'll take the spare. Second mark of the string for Bob Whitcomb. John Zappi, if he is to stay in this, is to get closer at all, must run the table. Has a good chance for a mark here. The wood doesn't help him, especially with the angle he throws his ball.
Exactly. If he comes from the other side, because of the angle of the wood, he might have a little bit better chance.
He's going to play the wood on the outside. Will it go? Will he get it to go? Yes, he will. Slow motion. Had it all the way. Watch it again. He caught the outside tip of the wood, and you didn't know for sure if it was going to have enough zap to zap him over. And it did. Working on a mark right through the middle of the spread eagle. John doesn't show a lot of emotion out there, but you know he has to be fearless.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be playing poker with him because you never know what he's thinking. Well,
So he will be open.
We'll have a look at Chris Sargent next week. He comes in with a 132 average. He was the top seed for the roll-off of this ladder with a 705. Yeah, Bob Whitcomb is in full control of this match, and for unforeseen circumstances, he'll be here next week with Chris Sargent, attempting to go from the number 5 seed to winning it all, which has been done only twice in the last 5 years.
Put 5 in the mark for Bob Whitcomb. And he'll not make the spare. Don't know how he didn't. Looked like he did everything right. But the 6-pin is still standing. Now it is not. 10 bucks. Bob Whitcomb has been bowling extremely well in this ladder series, and there's a strike. Just as I'm telling you how well he's bowling, he accommodates me by throwing right in the pocket, right in the 1-3 pocket. Watch that 5-pin, and there it goes, kicked out at the last minute.
Going to re-rack lane 34. Once again, the 7-pin did not set.
Had that happen a couple of times here this afternoon, but it resets right away, and we're ready to roll. Little Lanes, by the way, is on Amherst Street in Nashua, exit 7W if you're coming from the south on the Everett Turnpike, exit 8 if you're coming from the Manchester area. And as I mentioned, open bowling just about all the time at Little Lanes. Open every day. Ray Simino, Sean Howard, and the staff do a great job, and John Zappi gets a great spare.
Big split. Little help from the wood. As you
Watch
take
it
another look
again.
here.
4, 7, 9, and 10 with some wood.
Unfortunately, a case of too little, too late.
I
Maybe
believe that is correct.
some bonus money would be nice.
It sure would. But look at what he's left. The 5 and the 10 with a piece of wood.
You want to hit that one as far to the left as you can. Straighten it out and scoot over into the 10-pin.
That's what he's trying to do. Will he get it on the kick? He will not. So he'll be open in the 8th. 10 bucks for John. He's at 96. It's a 44-pin lead for Bob Whitcomb, plus whatever he puts in his strike, with 2 boxes to go. So it will be Bob Whitcomb advancing to the championship match next week against Chris Sargent. The winner of that match gets a berth in the Tournament of Champions.
We'll have 6 bowlers representing in that come April. Long way to go. Of course, we have mixed doubles coming up in the winter as well. We do that every year. Like I can tell you when you'll start watching those matches. December 22nd will be our first mixed doubles match, and that'll go for 4 weeks. Take a bit of a departure from men's singles.
Spare for Bob Whitcomb inside the strike. Bob is just piling it on right here, looking for more bonus money, and there it goes. So he finishes with a rush.
And still the possibility of hitting the triple strike jackpot with 2 more.
400 triple again for Bob. Is within reach with another. There's 2. Well, here we go, $550. He had 1 shot earlier in the match in the first string.
Fourth time in 3 weeks.
He's had 2. 4th time in 3 weeks, he's put 2 together. Hasn't been able to put the 3rd. He is at 139. He will break 400
with 2 pins.
With
That's
2
all he
pins.
needs.
This for $550. There they go! $550 for Bob Whitcomb. And a 149 3rd string, a 408 triple, and he's racking up the dough. Congratulations to Bob Whitcomb. Watch it again. They ganged up on the 7-pin. Now John Zappi to finish up.
Well, we reset it for $500 now.
Yep.
That's exciting bowling from Bob Whitcomb.
Zappi with a spare. $550 for Bob Whitcomb. He had another $100 in bonus money. That's $650 in bonus money for the string. John Zappi with a strike. He's looking for some bonus money.
Why not? Let's open the cash register at Ray's place here and give it all away today. Another $500 if he can throw two more, but
that'd be asking a lot, wouldn't it?
That'd be asking a lot. Yeah, John's had a tough day, but it would be a nice way for him to end, along with his $550 runner-up check.
In the pocket, will it go? It will not, but he's got a chance for $50. Tough spare, tough wood. Got to figure out a way to push that 9 into the 10. Will it go? It will not. He'll put a 9 in the strike and finish with a 135 in the third string and a three-string total of 343. To Bob Whitcomb's 408. Whitcomb advances to the championship match against Chris Sargent next week. We will come back to talk to our bowlers and present a lot of money when we return to Leda Lanes in Nashua for the conclusion of Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. In the interest of time, we're going right to the bonus ball contest with Bob Whitcomb. A winner this afternoon, 408 to 343 over John Zappi. Mike Moran will reach into the bin. 8 pins dropped. We'll see if we can get a winner here. And it is Bernice Long of Brockton, Massachusetts. She picked 8, a winner. A winner, $30 in the bonus ball contest for Bernice Long. Bob Whitcomb has won $1,075 in the first 3 weeks of this ladder series in bonus money alone. He comes back next week to meet Chris Sargent for the championship. We hope to see you then as well. For Mike Moran and our entire WNDS TV crew, I'm Dick Lutz. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. And as our friends at Leda Lanes always like to remind you,